You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith.
Hey there, Sprouts. Today is Friday, February 12th, 2021. This week on the Catholic Sprouts podcast, we have been talking about our motto, letting the Eucharist lead. We talked about how we are all part of a huge Eucharistic procession, and we need to follow Jesus truly present on this earth in the Eucharist. We talked about the sacrifice of the Mass. We talked about adoration. We even talked about Mary's role in all of this. But today we are going to get down into specifics, and we are going to talk about what it actually means and how we actually let the Eucharist lead. So here are some tips for letting the Eucharist lead in your life, as well as what we do here at Catholic Sprouts to make sure we are allowing the Eucharist to lead. So first of all, my friends, let's look to a saint for an example. St. Edith Stein was born a Jew, and she unfortunately lived when the Nazis were coming to power in Germany. She was incredibly intelligent, but she did not believe in God. However, through her studies and through her personal searching, she found God, and she was surprised to find the truth of the Catholic Church. Eventually, she converted. Edith eventually joined a Carmelite order where she took the name Teresa Benedicta of the Cross. However, the Nazis soon found her there, even in the convent, and she was taken to Auschwitz, which was a Nazi extermination camp, and she died there. Beyond this, St. Edith Stein was a prolific writer and wrote many beautiful things that help us to understand ourselves, especially Catholic women. In her writing, Edith Stein advised people to let the Eucharist lead them every day. To do this, she said, "Start your day with the Eucharist." Now, she was a religious sister, so you might think it was probably a little bit easier for her. Every day at the convent, they started their day with Mass and adoration. Now, chances are it's not quite as easy for you to get to Mass and adoration. However, I have a tip for you too, and I encourage you to do this. Remember that Jesus Christ is present in the tabernacle at every Catholic church. He is always there, even if he is not exposed in adoration. And we can know in our hearts that he is there, and we can go there in our mind. We can kneel before him, even if we're not present in that building. But simply remembering he's there, taking a moment of silence, and going there in our mind is a beautiful way to begin our day with the Eucharist, just as St. Edith Stein did. When we go to Jesus in the morning, at the beginning of our day, whether we are at Mass or just going there to visit the tabernacle in our mind, it is important that we do two things. First, we need to ask Jesus to direct our path this day. Now, in that, of course, there's a big sacrifice because we're saying we're going to let Jesus be in charge. We might not be able to do every little thing that is on our agenda, because we're going to give control over to Jesus. The second thing that we need to say is, Jesus, help me to embrace the cross with you. Jesus, help me to embrace the cross with you. Now, as a human being, we know that our life will contain at least a little bit of suffering. We lose people, we grieve, people are mean to us, we deal with hunger or exclusion. All these things are simply part of being human. As humans, we will suffer. Jesus showed us that when he came to earth as a human being. He embraced a great amount of suffering. And look to the example of St. Edith Stein on this point as well. She died in a Nazi extermination camp. Now clearly, what the Nazis did was evil, but God can use all things for his good. Through her death, she was able to be a shining example of how God can work in every situation, how God can make beautiful things happen out of evil. Edith Stein started every day with the Eucharist. She allowed Jesus to lead her every day through the Eucharist. And yes, in a way, he led her to Auschwitz. But we know that's not the end of the story, because she put her complete faith in Jesus Christ. And after Auschwitz, he also led her to eternal bliss in heaven. And that, my friends, is the real end of the story. If we follow Jesus on this earth, if each day we wake up and look to Jesus truly present in the Eucharist and say, Jesus, you lead. Jesus, help me embrace suffering like you did. Then we will follow him our whole lives and into the next life, where we will be with him eternally in heaven. And so, Sprouts, my challenge for you today is to find at least 10 minutes in the coming week to spend time adoring Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. You can do this in adoration before the Blessed Sacrament, or if you are in places still locked down, in front of a live stream of adoration on YouTube. Wherever you are, though, remember to say these two things to Jesus. Jesus, you lead, and Jesus, help me to embrace suffering like you did.
That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God created you to be. Hey there, Sprouts. I hope that you've enjoyed listening to Mr. Bansuch, the Catholic Sprouts guy, this week on the podcast. It is our hope that hearing all of this has lit a fire inside of you to go and be with our Lord Jesus Christ, truly present in the Blessed Sacrament of the altar, and to go to Eucharistic adoration. So I challenge you, Sprouts, to find time to do that. Check your parish website or bulletin, find out when and where Eucharistic adoration is available. And if it isn't available at a time you can go to, remember, he is present in the tabernacle and you can go and pray there. But don't delay. Don't let Jesus be lonely. Go and spend time with him. He's waiting for you.